All right. We're going to have a conversation, right? Because there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. A couple of things have been bugging me for a bit. You guys have probably noticed that I haven't been uploading as often as I normally do. And I've been talking with some of the folk from Discord and just thinking about some stuff to myself in regards to content and stuff for the channel, as well as some things happened around Gamescom. But we'll leave the Gamescom stuff until in a little bit. But and of course, like life, I've been going through some shit in life, nothing health related, just just life. There's so much darkness in this world, man. There's so much going on, and I like to sort of know what's happening, but sometimes it just gets too much, right? And for me, it just if too much of that negativity, it starts to kill all my enjoyment of everything. And I've been even struggling to like play games lately, right? And I'll load up a game and I'll just be sitting there going, oh, fuck, what's the point, right? Because of that doom and gloom. Like everything just seemingly seems to go to shit. Almost everyone in the world right now, you know. And that's not healthy for anyone. Some people can handle it. Some people are really good at handling it. Me myself, not so much, But it was one of the things that I started thinking about. Well, how do I get back to, my happy place? How do I get back to just, really enjoying specifically Mortal Kombat? When the Legacy Collection got announced, as you guys all saw, I was pretty over the moon. And then after Gamescom and some of the fallouts and conversations that were had and things that I'd seen, um, kind of killed it. It kind of just like kind of killed, to some degree the excitement. And it wasn't the fact that they hadn't announced certain games or whatever, but some of the stuff I'd seen and was talking about with some people, whatever, really kind of like made me realize a couple of things. But going back to the happy place, what made me fall in love with Mortal Kombat? Well, I've talked about this at length. I fell in love with the character design and the story, and this. Not, I don't care so much about the blood, um, because I like fighting games in general. A lot of fighting games don't have any gore or anything. But I love the setting, the mystical Asian themed martial arts tournament. I thought that was very cool. Very reminiscent of that feeling I get when I watch Bloodsport. But what made me really fall in love with it? Well, it was sitting there playing it, by myself, for hours on end, with not a care in the world, experimenting with different characters and trying out different things and figuring out certain secrets and all that sort of stuff. And the reason why specifically, like, because obviously MK1 was the first home version that I think I can't remember if I owned it before I owned the Master System version. I can't remember because I used to rent the Master System version a lot. So it could be either one. But like to get like the proper true home version for Mortal Kombat 1 was the Mega Drive because it had all the characters, it had all the stages, a lot more sound effects and the incredible soundtrack as well. But I remember just, and this is the thing, like, I remember just sitting there, just enjoying it and not giving a fuck, not caring about, you know, anything or whatever going on in the world. Um, and I've been really trying to tap back into that, you know, in a huge way. I've been working on a little project of mine, which is being discussed on the Discord right now, called Mortal Kombat Anthology. That was born from this trying to get back to what really made MK great for me, you know. And while I've already pre-ordered the deluxe and the collectors, and now of course pre-purchased the Steam version, it's in my library. Um, Outside of that, I kind of felt very disenfranchised, and sometimes too a community like or reactions from a community or seeing how certain people behave can actually sour temporarily like you know, like how you feel about a product, how you feel about something you've always loved. You know, I've seen a lot of opinions and a lot of conversations, had a lot of conversations with people in regards to MK, but there's that part of me, like it's kind of a weird thing to say, but I'm pretty introverted, to be perfectly honest. As soon as this shit turns off, I'm pretty quiet. I'll watch my shows or movies. I'll play my games quietly. You know, I'm not like, well, depending, if I was playing MK1, I might be yelling and screaming if I was playing online, but in general, I'm pretty quiet. Um, and sometimes I miss that. Sometimes I actually miss the just not being known. Is that weird to say? You know? And some of that stems from the fact, and I'll get to it in a bit, from certain interactions with people, um, and conversations that I've had, and just seeing other stuff as well, which kind of took my love of MK, which felt like this very personal, experience, and seeing it commodified or dragged through the mud, or clickbaited and rage baited and all sorts of shit like that. And I'm guilty of that too, I guess. I've done content, ranting and raving about the state of NRS and modern MK. I am not without fault. And I do miss, sometimes I really do, especially lately, I really do miss that, just being a nobody, except to my friends. You know what I mean? And family. Because I remember, like I said, just sitting there, and I just sit there and just play MK all day. Not talk to anyone, right? Not you know, not debate the whys and wherefores of things, or anything like that. It was definitely simpler times, happier times, and I've been trying to tap back into that. I've been playing an absolute poo ton of Mortal Kombat 2 on the Sega Mega Drive Genesis. A lot of MK Trilogy on PS1 because I've modified the read speeds. So it's pretty much loading as fast as what we're seeing with the Legacy Collection coming out. And been having a lot of fun with that. And I sort of, it's weird because, like, I remember all the memories I had with all of this stuff. I remember I went to a party once and I took my PS1 there with MK Trilogy on PlayStation 1, right? Because I don't drink and smoke and do drugs, and everyone else is going to be drinking. So I just loaded up the PS1 and just sat there and played MK Trilogy all night. It's just, I didn't give a fuck. I just didn't care, And I know that's boring. I know some people think that's boring, because I don't drink and stuff. And I've even been told that to my face. But I think my liver and my kidneys are very thankful, right, for it. But it's those memories, or just sitting there. I remember my mate came back from the video game shop with MK2 Mega Drive, and like, I didn't know he had it at first. He went down to get it, and he came back and goes, "Nah, it wasn't there to rent." And I'm like, oh, and I remember sitting in the lounge room, and he was standing in front of me, and then he pulls it out from under his shirt. And I just lost my mind. I couldn't believe it. Because you got to remember, too, we didn't have the internet back then. So we were scouring every single gaming magazine for brand new pictures, and then the reviews, and then the comparisons, and trying to figure out which version we're going to get. And at least for me, I'm a Sega fanboy. So I pretty much got, the first time I ever got a Mortal Kombat game over a Genesis version was the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 3. And then after that, PlayStation 1 had come out, and then I gravitated to 32-bit consoles with, the PS1 version of Mortal Kombat 3, and I never looked back, And it's those memories. It's just like, I remember once, like, talking with, I remember once in one of the heated debates before the great calming between myself and Mike Hollow, and something came up about, well, all you've done is mostly play the AI, and and that's it. You haven't really sort of gone to tournaments and stuff, and that's true, 100%. But because I played the AI, I learnt tips and tricks myself. Yeah, and then that seemed to work against players. I'm not an expert. I just, I that was kind of my experience. But I'll tell you something. It's something very relaxing, um, and very, very nostalgic against just playing against the AI. You know, I often sort of, I think I've asked this question already in a video, but like, are people mostly going to be playing online or offline? Obviously, I'm going to play with the community online and stuff like that. But I get really excited about playing this online, like the Mega Drive version of MK1 or MK2 or PS1 Trilogy, because I know you can play PS1 Trilogy on Arcadesia, or however you say it, but, to have it in an official format is going to be very cool. But I just, I just love playing, I love playing these games offline. It doesn't bother me. And maybe it's because of the nostalgia. I got nothing to prove. I don't care about trying to beat people. I don't go, yeah, I'm so good, because I can beat these people. I don't get like that. I just, I have more fun just playing rather than, whether it's winning or losing. And that's why, like, I can be very content just sitting here and just playing, say, MK1, just against the AI and just having a ball with it, you know. Um, and like, I know there was some people in the community, they start putting out guides, oh, this character's broken, that character's broken, and it's kind of the same shit when, like, we get with modern MK games, because everyone's looking for the quick and easy route. Well, who's the most broken character I can use? Oh, I can just point to Noob Saibot, an MK trilogy if you want that. Off you go. Have some fun with that one. But like, it's there is when I've sat back and I really thought about Mortal Kombat, what really made me love MK is the time I spent with it. Just playing it offline. And sometimes, yeah, obviously on a weekend, your mates come over, you have some matches. I was the MK guy, another mate was the Street Fighter guy, another mate was the Tekken guy, right? And we were all the best in our own fighting franchise that we loved, right? And so it was always really cool to be able to challenge each other, and see where you stand. I always got my ass flogged in Tekken and Street Fighter, but in MK I held my own, and then vice versa, So like, for them, and it's just being able to sit there and enjoy it peacefully without the noise of the internet, without the noise of everything else or whatever, or the pressure of, because obviously, running a YouTube channel, even the way I fucking say it, right? Like, it's like, oh, what do I talk about next? What do I do next? What do I say next? Right? And sometimes you can get caught in that trap. I've done it before, where you're struggling to try and figure out what to do, what to say, and like I said, since Gamescom, my passion created because of some of the interactions, some things that were told to me, right? Without naming names, but one thing in particular really bugged me. And I realized in that moment, and I've talked about it with some of the guys on the Discord, is that there is no difference between some of these classic communities and some of the NRS communities, right? And maybe one of the best things for me with this community and these people that have supported me, all of you guys, for this long, is to kind of do what some creators have done that we've seen for a long time. And that is just only, and specifically only, focus on this and just talking about whatever the fuck I want to talk about, right? Because you get comments sometimes from people where they go, oh God, he's talking about this again, he's talking about that again. Well, that's why the U is in YouTube. I mean, that's why YouTube was created, to allow anybody with any sort of semblance of a camera or ability to create something to upload it and share stuff about themselves. I mean, that's how we have some of the creators and stuff that we actually do. I mean, that's kind of why you're here watching people, is it not? I mean, it's a fucking weird thing to say, you know. But there is sometimes a bit of a pressure there, you know, to go, oh, fuck, well, do I have, you know, what do I say today, right? And then I was talking about this with the boys as well, about, you know, do I start covering other stuff? Two of my other really big passions, maybe three, is I love online gaming in terms of like MMOs. Love MMOs, right? And I generally play, you know, most days a week I'll play at least an MMO or some online game. You know, like most of them are free to play. Some of them aren't even that big, but they're just a lot of fun, you know. Because coming from a period of time where we didn't have the internet and then straddling that bridge over to the internet, the idea still to this day of getting online and playing with random people is fucking cool. I don't know what it is, but it is cool. Now, people that are born into it are probably like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Like, I don't get that buzz. I do. I get that buzz big time. Like, I still get it. You know, I'll play. There's a free-to-play shooter called Delta Force, right? And it's a great fucking game, you know. And I'll just press tab just so I can see the entire roster of players that are logged in, you know, on both teams. And it's just like top to bottom. Like, I think it's like, what, 30, 32 by 32, you know, like on each team. It's like, fucking hell, man. Like, you know, I'm running around with a whole bunch of other people, which is why I like MMOs as well. Now, outside of playing with family, I generally am also fairly isolated when I play these games too. You know, I just run around and do my own thing, you know, but I like seeing other people run around. That's what's really cool about it, right? I like seeing the other people running around and you know, playing in the same world that I am. Kind of like, you know, when you go outside, you don't talk to every fucking person, but you're glad that there's people out there, right? Well, maybe sometime. Right, depending on anxiety levels, right? But I started thinking, it's like, well, how would people on the channel like it if I started talking about other shit that I'm just interested in, you know? And I'll use this as an example. Asmon Gold started out covering World of Warcraft, and he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, either YouTuber or one of the biggest YouTubers. Certainly, I think the biggest streamer on Twitch. Maybe I'm just, you know, I'm pretty sure like he's definitely up there, right? And he started off covering WoW stuff for a very long time, you know. And I remember watching this one video of his once, and he's like, man, I'm just bored. Like, I just want to talk about other shit I'm interested in, right? And he started doing that. He started, you know, covering other games that he liked playing. And the reality is, though, is that while a lot of us are playing Mortal Kombat and loving MK, most of us are also playing other games. You know, everything from like Dark Souls type games to MMOs, shooters, racing games, platformers, who knows what. Like, there's such a massive variety. And I've been thinking about that, and I guess I'd like to hear from your thoughts on that. Because I got two other channels. They're very small. One's an MMO channel, one's a retro gaming channel, right? And sometimes it's good to have stuff separated out, because then you build your own audience for that specific stuff. But at the same time, I love this channel. I love you guys. You guys are great. And I love gaming in general, right? And while this channel is built on fighting games, I'm thinking a lot about whether I should start just talking about other shit too. You know, not drama, like in that regard, like gaming news drama, just showcasing games I'm interested in, maybe in a, you know, particular review format. On my retroactive channel, I just review like random retro games, and I haven't done it in a while, but there's quite a few on there. But I'd love to be able to just, like, you know, if people thought it was a good idea, do it over here, right? Same with, like, you know, any other games that I'm playing. I'm in Sonic Racing, Sonic Cross Racing Cross Worlds, or whatever it's called, is coming out. I'm going to be getting that. I'm excited for that. You got Final Fantasy Tactics, the remastered one coming out. I can't wait for that. I'm going to be getting that. I haven't started Metal Gear Solid Delta yet. I've only played a little bit of online with Gears of War Reloaded. I haven't started playing the campaign yet. I've got a lot of games. I've been playing through Shinobi Art of Vengeance. It's a lot of shit that I play. You know, especially when the mood takes me. The mood's been getting a little bit better lately, which is good. You know, I'm starting to feel that excitement about gaming again. Because I'm shutting out the world, like all the bad shit, you know, and just focusing on inside these walls and those that are close outside those walls. But then to lead on to that, I was, you know, with the stuff with Gamescom, I was excited. Up until that point, I was like super hyped for MK Collection, right? Then we get the Shinfits video, right? Where he is accidentally right about MK Gold not being in there. But at that point, nobody knew shit, right? We had to take the word of someone that nobody had ever heard of before, right? And just trust me, bro, right? And then he slags off other content creators claiming these people never credited him when they all did, right? And then, like, obviously, like, I'd spoken to Headlocked about it because I know Headlock got upset about my comment of my basically off, and it was true, like off Shinfits, and then you got somebody else going, oh, well, I spoke to these people, and they said the same thing, or similar stuff for other things, right? And I'm like, okay, but who said it? Now, that's not the thing that bothered me, because me and Headlock are fine, right? But one thing that was said to me was that other content creators apparently took issue with me asking the question for, like, well, you know, have we got a little bit more sauce there? Or as my mate Dragoon would say, I want the milk directly from the cow, right? And outside of my friends, I actually messaged Mike Hollow about this. Now, I've got this sort of weird thought process that, you know, and everything's cool with Mike. There's nothing. Mike's done nothing wrong. This is actually a good thing I'm about to tell you. And I said to him, I said, listen, man, I just want to know your opinion on this. You know, if you've got people out there claiming stuff but with no names, like, or no whatever, you know, what's your stance on that? I know my stance, but I wanted to hear, especially from someone, you know, you've been warring with someone for so long, right? Sometimes, you know, it's good to hear from somebody that, like, isn't like an actual close mate, right? But they're not, obviously not enemy no more, but somebody that's like not within the friend circle, but can still be blunt enough and go, actually, you know, I'll just give him my opinion on this and whatever, and be honest about it. And his opinion on it was like, yeah, absolutely. 100% you get names on, you know, or where sources are coming from with information, you know, because when you're obviously, you know, reporting this stuff, you know, you want to know, right? And the thing is, though, that, like, what's been really bugging me, right? And I'm not trying to upset with anyone when I say this, but if there were creators that were going to this other person and saying, why is Fate wanting, like, receipts, if you want to put it that way, or basically like, you know, sort of like the source code of where some of this information of, I kind of thought about that, right? And I thought, wait a sec, right? So these other communities, these other creators are no different, right? Anyone could say anything, but if you're all pals, you're all friends, right? Then what? We're all supposed to just lockstep in line and just not ask simple questions of just, well, who said what in terms of, like, information about a fucking video game. And it's been really bugging me. It's been on my tit, ever since then, because I thought, hang on a sec. I have been doing this for years. I have been reporting news for years. I have been placing my information front and center, whether it's a fucking 4chan post or a Reddit page or something on Twitter, so people can see exactly where it's coming from that I'm talking about, right? And me simply asking people, hey, listen, who's saying this, right? I didn't realize that, like, other people would have a problem with that. Now, like I said, like, this is no issue with Headlock, right? Me and Headlock are fine, right? But what I'm saying, though, is that it was told to me that other creators took issue with that. Funny how, like, they're not fucking man enough to say it themselves to me, right? Or misinterpret exactly what I said in plain English, which was, okay, who's saying these things, right? And the best example I can use is another guy that was there that the Rexa show, I believed, interviewed a guy. I think his name was Steven as well. I covered it in a reaction video. Yeah, I think it was an Atari guy who was answering stuff. And some stuff he didn't even know, wasn't sure of. But at least we could, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could see, right? And it really bugs me. Because I was actually made to feel like shit. And not just that, I was made to feel like that other people, six people apparently, other creators in the classic community, right, decided to take issue with the fact that I was asking a fellow creator, hey, you know, I just need to know, right? And like I said, me and Headlock talked about this and it's all cool. It's these other people. I want to know who the fuck they are. Because if they're so cowardly to think that somehow people that are reporting the news and wanting it to be authentic and not clickbait or rage bait and making sure that people see this shit front and center is a fucking problem, then I want to know who the accusers are. I think that's fair enough. Do we not agree with that? Because I tell you what, hearing that from supposed, like, the better side of the MK community really pissed me off and it soured me, right? No wonder guys like Tom Brady fucking walks away, you know, and has a gutful. Now I get it. Because apparently you're only allowed to do certain things or say certain things, you know, and that's it. Right? And I wasn't being disrespectful. The only person that pissed me off out of that whole thing was Shinfits and the way that, you know, he was talking down to people and then misrepresenting other YouTubers and lying about them. Right? Like, that was just absolutely disgraceful behavior by that guy. Right? Did those content creators take issue with him? The ones that apparently were so disgusted by me just simply wanting sources for the information about something that I have fucking advocated for and wanted for so very long. Christ, I'm older than probably most of these fucking people. I've been playing since day one. Right? But I guess it seems, though, that there are problems on this side of the aisle when it comes to the MK community too, because it seems certain people won't be up front. And they just want to cower and hide away and not say, hey, listen, yeah, I didn't like this line of fuck's sake. It wasn't even that bad for everyone that remembered the video. It wasn't even that bad at all. It wasn't bad at all. Right? And you know what I realized just talking about this? You know what it sounds like? It sounds like I got to stay in my lane. Where have I heard that before? I've been told that by someone who I considered a friend. I got told to stay in my fucking lane, right? And not talk about things I don't understand, right? And it was someone that was a friend. And when I used to do, when I did my old channel with YouTube, right, back in the PS3 days, when you let certain people in, you know, when you start talking a bit more regular and shit like that, sometimes some people think they've got some fucking right to tell you what to do with your content. Like they own you or have some sort of, you know, shareholder stake. Oh, you know, I don't think you should be talking about this or that. Bro, it's YouTube, right? I'm not changing the world here. Okay? And that's kind of how it felt, right? That I've got to now be careful because I just wanted more information. That's it. I just wanted more fucking information. But lo and behold, you know, that was a problem for apparently 6 of them. That's what's bugging me. And that sort of shit has been killing my fucking mood for this stuff. That's when I realized that, you know, I mean, like we all do it. We generally all do it, right? We all focus on our own communities and do what we do. But the reality is, though, is that, like, I stopped having fun with it. And in fact, not long after that, I actually started working on my own collection just to see if I could do it, my anthology, to see if I could put in a front end every MK game, which I did, right? Because I needed to tap back into what made MK great for me. And by doing that little project, started getting me thinking about the past and stuff I really was enjoying with MK, right? But I had to get this out. I had to get it out, right? No, it's a crash out. I don't care. I don't fucking care. But like, you know, and outside of like my friends, obviously Mike also gave the best advice too. Absolutely. And he shared that he was going through some shit where people were saying things about him, you know, wouldn't name names, right? Won't you know, sort of, you know, divulge that information. You know what that is? It's control, right? It's either trying to shame you, control what you do, what you say, all that sort of stuff. And I'm a by and large, like I'm generally a news coverage channel, an opinion channel when it comes to like MK stuff. It's been good to not sort of talk about like any of the MK1 drama and all that sort of shit, because a lot of that's either dead, gone, or I don't care anymore, and it was not conducive at all. But I was shocked because, like, damn, man, like, really? And there's another content creator, their fucking community, like, months ago, it was shared to me by like one of my followers, like on the Discord, that I was being trashed, right? In their Discord, right? Because, and this is how you know, this is how you know it's a red flag community, when they sit there and they talk about things like, oh, we don't want that, we don't want that toxic person, you know, like toxic person. They don't know you from a bar of soap, you know, the toxic person, we don't want that drama, you know, or any of that sort of, and I'm not talking like drama, I'm talking about like, they have decided to judge you, right, without even having a conversation with you, right? Because I'm all open for conversations with people. It's the best way to figure out where things go, right? And that's why, like, obviously with Headlock, like, there was confusion there, so we had a good conversation and sorted it out, right? But it really is. It really does feel like, you know, you've just kind of, it's not about trust, but it's very much going like a Lone Ranger route. Lone Ranger route, yes. Where, you know, it feels like you just, you know, you're good as long as you stay in your fucking lane, right? So just to finalize, outside of obviously talking about MK and shit like that, I have been thinking about, like, essentially, like, because I love the name of the channel, love it, because essentially, like, fight all thy enemies, you're doing that and everything, aren't you? Fighting games, driving a car, you know, like, all that sort of shit. And I love gaming, and you know, I want to know sort of if you guys would be interested in hearing about other shit as well. Um, because you know, even guys like Maximilian, you know, just after a while they just you gotta like there's other stuff to talk about, and there's so many good games out there, so much fun, whether they're old games, whether they're new games, you know. And I've been thinking about whether or not I should have those separate channels or I should just start, you know, um, you know, building them through this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know there's benefits to both sides, but we'll see. But I had to get that off my chest, man, because it does bug me. Because if that's what this side of the community is like, I don't want anything to do with it. Right? If asking questions about information sources and stuff is going to it's going to ruffle the feathers of other creators, so they're going to run to somebody else and have a fucking bitch fit about it, but I can't get the names, can I? Then, you know, then it's like, well, gee whiz. What does it say about them? Right? And that's why I felt like you know, like I haven't been having much fun. I haven't been really excited about this stuff, you know, since Gamescom, you know, and I realized, you know, yesterday when I was talking on Discord with the boys, I'm like, yeah, that's it, man. That's what it is. It's that sort of like, you know, stay in your lane mentality. You know, don't step out of line. Don't, you know, how can you, why would you question this person who's a good person? I didn't say these people weren't fucking good people. I'm just saying that, like, you know, when you don't know somebody personally, and it's particularly in the case of someone like Shinfits that really, like, they poisoned the well, then everyone was like, okay, all right, we need to find out a little bit more. Like, you know, because Shinfits was absolutely just fucking garbage. The whole thing was garbage with him, right? And I meant that. It absolutely poisoned the well for me, but I was certainly not disrespectful to anyone else that was coming out and saying, well, we heard this and we heard that. But apparently, that was a bridge too far for some people. You guys wonder why? Like, talking all the way back in the beginning, when I've been thinking about what made me MK, like my MK experience great, because I was by my fucking self. That's why. You didn't have to worry about stepping on somebody's toes or upsetting some poor sensitive fucking soul out there, you know, that didn't like me having an opinion on an aspect of a game. And I know it's part of the job. You put yourself out there, you're going to get opinions back. Sure. Right? But along with everything else going on in the world, right? And then now having to block that out because too much darkness. All that's left is family, friends. And I don't have a lot of friends. And that's fine. Like I'm quality over quantity. But you know, I was losing interest in enjoying video games. Fucking hell, like me. Even something like classic Mortal Kombat, the collection that I have been excited since day one to know that it was coming, and then it was just like a fucking hammer just came down and smashed me on the head, and I just lost all that excitement because of the stuff I talked about just now. Right. So, you know, But I want to know, just to finalize, if you made it this far, thank you. But I do want to know if you guys want to see me branch out. It's not hard for me to do. I've been doing on other channels. Like, it's not difficult. But I love, like, the community here, and I love to be able to share more of my passion. Oh yeah, I love like sim fucking games, like building like railroads and shit too. I love that stuff. That's great. Very fucking relaxing for me. Love playing like American Truck Sim, stuff like that. You know, love that shit, man. Right? Love gaming in general. But there are some things that I definitely like. I definitely go, yeah, yeah, that's my jam. You know, and tapping back into classic MK in the last like week or so has been pretty therapeutic. um, Especially getting the anthology going, helping people in the Discord, um, you know, so they can experience this same thing as well. But a lot of people out there that are just excited to play this stuff offline. You know, I mean, I will be playing tons of it offline. I'm going to get all the achievements. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'll play some stuff online, sure, yeah. But, like, I got nothing to prove. I don't care. What am I going to win out of it? Right? Right? What am I going to win out of it? Right? So, it's just... I think that's one of the things. I think everyone should tap into what makes... what makes Mortal Kombat or whatever game you're interested in, make it feel like home. Like what about it makes it feel like home, you know? And I do prefer the simpler times of the older MK games. I've been talking about that for a long time too, but after playing so much of them, in recent times, yeah, it's definitely I definitely realize how far NRS has fallen. Their design philosophy, what really matters, what makes Mortal Kombat great, you know. So, but anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think. Catch you next time.